Hello, hello. All right. Well, it looks like we are here, wherever here may be. I don't know. I'm assuming the audio is coming through. It worked fine when I was testing it earlier. So, welcome in. What we have here is our Vic B3 model kit. We have all the parts laid out. This is what you'll get in the kit. There are a couple of little, we'll just say that. I'm going to be recording this for the website, and for YouTube, so that we can have an idea so I have something to show how it can be assembled. So we'll be working with it as a tutorial, and I'm just kind of broadcasting it as a possibility that somebody might find it interesting. And then we'll get onto a regular scheduled programming, which is not scheduled. So what we have here is we have our 3D printed parts. We have our vending capsule lid. We have our wires. I have not exactly figured out the best order to put these together in, but we can start with this. This is the top gearbox. I'm just making the stuff up as I go, so I called this the gearbox, top and bottom. To put the chassis piece in, we'll angle it like this, and kind of twist it down so that these tabs intersect with these tabs, and same with this bit here. Whoops, let me move it back this way. Let me just start over because I don't think anybody's watching yet. So, this is the Vic B3 model kit. These are the 3D printed parts. This is the plastic dome, the vending capsule of the VC, and these are the wires. They'll probably look different, but these are wires that are used for the arms. I will note that this arm section over here, this bit here is the 3D printed arms. It'll look the same as the other print. It's just that I pre-painted these so that they'd go together easier, or so I wouldn't have to hold off on painting them later. Anyway, we have our tank treads left and right. We have our rear bumper. It's the one that has a little bump in the back. We have our front bumper. We have our dome spine, our backpack, our head, or headlight. We have our lens for our headlight. Excuse me. We have our head stalk. We have our arm segments here, and our hands. This is the top plate, I think. This is the dome ring. This here is the nose, chassis, trunk, like I said, backpack, front bumper, left and right fenders, top and bottom gearbox. One of these is the interface and the top of the gearbox, and this is the body and the little lens there. So let's get on with assembly. There might not be, the order in which you do this may change, but I'm going to start with the top part here. I'm going to take the chassis piece, set it over the top here, and then angle it in, and then swing it down so that these clips here and here intersect. And this may be a bit snug. Don't want to force it too much if it's giving you too much trouble, but a little bit of pressure is okay. You don't want to break this. Definitely don't want to shatter it in your hands, but there we go. That's what that looks like. This chassis piece here, the fenders will clip onto this, as will some of the other pieces. I'm not going to put it on the bottom yet, but this is where it goes. We'll leave that for later. Let's see. Next we will take on the fenders. So this part here goes to the back of the fender, and that will go in like that. If I flip it over, you can see how these pieces connect together. There's cutouts and everything, so they can really only go together one way. And you would probably glue these, but it's a good idea to test fit ahead of time. So sorry if you didn't see that. Let me try it again. This is our assembled part where we have the top of the gearbox with the chassis attached. Next I'm going to take my fender. I'm going to slot this in down at the bottom and clip it together. If I flip this over, you can see how these pieces interconnect. Eventually you would probably glue this. Yeah, you will want to glue this, but you might want to dry fit it first just to make sure everything goes together. I will repeat the same thing on the other side. Bring that in like that. Flip it around. Let's see. Here, it clicked in. It's a nice one that clicks in positively. Hey, wee bald guy, welcome in. Cool. So I'm working on putting together a little tutorial on how to assemble this new model kit. So that's what's going on now. At this stage we have our fenders together. We have our chassis onto our top of the gearbox. Obviously it's not like a literal gearbox, it's just a piece of plastic. The motor's probably in there, who knows? I haven't worked it all out to that level of detail. I guess before putting the fenders on, I could have put this piece on. This is the piece that connects between the bottom and the top. If you'll notice here, there's a little arrow there that points to the front. I don't know that it really matters which direction you go. It's fairly symmetrical, but that's the way it goes to the front. That'll go over this post and down around these chassis things. And that gets glued into place there. Now on top of that, we have this. This is the interface that goes between the base and the body. So we put that over there. What we have here is a little C-clip to hold it in place. Now I'm not going to actually push it all the way in. It may need a little bit of sanding to make it fit in more easily. But for now, I'm just going to clip it in like that, and that'll just prevent these from coming off. The body part is this. We just want to line it up so that these little pegs here go between these pegs here. We can see that from above. And there we go, that's all clipped together. You can see this is free to rotate, which is a key feature. One thing that I should do, I think it's best. Oh, we'll backtrack a bit. We'll put some things together, then we'll take some things apart. This is the top plate. That goes there. We have, on top of that, we have our little headstalk. That goes in there. You may need to do a little bit of sanding to get this to lay a little flatter. And you may notice that this little piece here looks like it might be broken. That's because that is. The one you get in your kit will not. It'll look like this on both sides. But that is actually where these little guys slot into. Which I don't know if you can see that, but there's little guys there, and those will slot in like that on both sides. You'll want this facing forward because this is like the eyeball. I'm just going to take that off for now. That is how that goes together. And there is actually a little lens that goes in here. And I may be printing these lenses out of a clear or another color, but I don't exactly know yet. But those go together like that. And then onto this, and then into there. And there you have it. On that, we put our lid. I set that aside briefly, because here I have what I call the backpack and the dome spine. Let me bring my hands back into view. So we are putting the spine into the backpack, like so. And then that can kind of clip into here. And to keep and that will glue into place. That's not clicked in a way that will hold. And in order to hold the lid down otherwise, we have this ring piece, which you can see it's wider on the bottom and there's a lip on the top, so the lip goes towards the top, and we can just bring this around here, and that will glue into place at this intersection here with the spine. You just want to probably get it into place and put some glue in there and hold it or something. So that is the main body assembled. Now before you actually get to this point, you need to put together the arms. You need to put the arms together and put those in because, well, it's okay at this point because we haven't glued anything down, but before you glue things down, you'll want to put the arms in because the arms actually go in the middle. So let's see if I can gently persuade this to come apart. It doesn't seem to want to. Interesting. Let's see. There's no glue holding these things in. Oh well. I don't want to twist it and maneuver it too much because this stuff does, well, it's not the weakest resin in the world. It's also can be broken. So I'm just going to push down on the post in the middle while holding onto the body. That should break it out. Wow, that is being really stubborn. I guess it got a little twisted. You see the bottom, the back part's coming out, but the one side's coming out, but the other side isn't. So what if I put the pressure on this other side now? And there we go. But anyway, that's why we don't, I don't know. I just don't know anymore. Okay, so what we have here is we have our base. Somewhere around here we have our other fender, which again, just clips on like that. Let's work on the arms first. And with the arms we have this little stack here, we have the two hands, and we have the two wires. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some needle nose pliers and I'm going to just put a quick little bend in the top, if I can get in there, and fold it over. Because this is going to act as the stop as I push it through the hand. You will probably want to add some glue as well. And yes, this is a resin 3D print. And these guys go into the hands. And we just push that through the top, and it should catch because we have that little bend in there. And you might need to put a little bit of effort to get it to go in. Otherwise, you could just stick the wire in and then glue it in place and not worry about the little bend over. But it worked in the past, although this is different wire than the last time I used it. So. It's catching on the lip. There we go. Pulled it all the way through. Okay, so you would glue it. I'll get some glue and do that right now. Is my glue going to work? This glue has just given me trouble. So I'm just going to dip this in there. And put it in there. I'll do the same thing on this other side. Probably good to have that little bend in there just to make it, give the glue something to grab onto. So there's multiple ways to skin a cat, as they say. So we'll let that sit. Actually, I'm going to speed up the process with a little bit of kicker. I'm just going to drip it down the post. What this does is this makes the super glue set immediately. Alright. Now the reason I leave these arm segments on this carrying thing is so that you don't have a whole bunch of free pieces. The side benefit of that is that I can thread through a lot of these at one time without having to treat them individually. So it's up to you to determine how long you want these arms to be. I'll just do 2 like this. I have 16 arm segments left. I'll show that again. I just have my hand glued on this end, and I'm just going to run my wire down through here so I don't have to thread all of these individually. Now I'm going to just kind of massage these a bit and break them free. And again, I pre-painted these just because I wanted to. So I figured they'd be easier to paint when they're still separate rather than when they're on the arm. As you can see, we didn't get total coverage, but it should help some. So there we have half of one arm. Again, I have 16 of these segments. You don't have to use all of them. You might want a shorter arm. And do the same thing on this side. Yes, I am in screen. Just breaking them free from their supports. And of course, you could actually free them from their supports before doing this, before threading them on. That would also work. In fact, I'll just show that. You can just take this and just kind of squeeze it until the things pop apart. And this little carrier frame you can maybe find some other use for. Let's see, this is the shorter one. Obviously, I did not get full coverage on that spray paint. Another option you could possibly do is to put these back to back, like this. Back to back, front to front, back to back, and get a different type of effect on the arm. But we're just gonna put them all front to back. I think that's all of them. Are our arms the same length? So there we have our arms. Now the arms go into the body like this. And I think at this point my methodology is going to be to wind them together once they're in place. There may be other ways to attach it that are better. Don't know yet. But for now, I'm going to just twist them like this. And maybe even go in with the needle nose pliers and give them a good twist. Just so there's providing tension and connecting them together. So these are all of the arm segments. It is a little long, I think. You might be better off with 12 segments instead of 16. Ha, he just fell apart. I may also come up with something to wrap them on inside. That might make it a little better. But at this point, I'm leaving it up to you on how to fasten these. It's off camera again. What if I... take one, let's move this out of the way for now. Take one and twist a loop in the end of it. I don't know if that's good enough or not. Now with a loop in one, I'm going to try to push this one through that loop and kind of tie it off. Again, you might find a better way to do this. I might find a better way to do this by the time I actually sell these things. In which case, I can always update the instructions. Anyway. I don't like how loose that is, but I feel like it's time to move on. Maybe I can just give it a twist to tighten it. Whee! Okay. Here's our base again. I think I am going to clip this in. Let me get a screwdriver and see if this is not too tight to clip in. Again, it might need a little bit of persuasion or a little bit of sanding. There we go. And there's that. I can put our base on again, our body onto the base. And now apparently if it's going to stick as well as it did last time, it won't actually need glue. But some things will. Alright, with that in place, here's where things can kind of get tricky. I've already showed you the backpack and the dome and stuff. That's fairly easy. Is that the same color plastic? No. Okay. Here we have a little dome to go in the front plate there. That's just a little lens to go there. There's a reason I have it as a separate piece, but that's more for the advanced. No, not really advanced. This is our little trunk piece. The trunk piece will be glued in place here. And we have, I'm looking for the nose piece. Where did I push that off to? I don't think this is the exact one, but it is one. This will go, for this I think I need to have the bottom put together. So let's gather up these pieces. You might notice that this one is missing a bit of a peg. But I just kind of, these things go in here like that. You might want to stick it in and rub it around a little bit. Careful to not break things off because they are pretty fragile at this stage. So that gives us a little bit of looseness. These go together like that. That will go in like there. These pieces kind of fit together. If I take this fender off, you can probably see things a little easier. And see how these go together. There are these little interface points where it can connect, where you can put some glue. But the peg goes in the rear wheel. That goes like that. Yeah, I guess you don't need the top on at all for that. Put the fender back on like this. Now with the top on, it's getting a little harder to maneuver. But anyway. Ooh. Ooh. Looks like that one is missing a piece. now we can work on the front. You can see there's a couple grooves for this to go in, and it will snap in, match up with these pegs on the fenders. This is where gluing is starting to become necessary. Again, the rear bumper is the one that has this extra little bump out, and that should just slide in here. Tie these pieces together. Make sure our fenders are low enough. The fender, or the bumpers, are actually the most difficult pieces to put in, I think. Because they span a few different parts. But they should look a little something like that. Or they should look exactly like that. Let's see. Hands back into view. So we have our arms, we have our body, we have our nose, our front fender, our back bumper. Here's our front bumper. That will go in here above these pieces. And there's a spot for it. There we go. So let's put our backpack on. We can put our top plate back in. So go there. This will need to be glued in. Now, based on the original drawing, I didn't actually have the eyeball thing in its holder there. I actually had it being held by the hands. So this could also be accomplished as well. You just have to trust me on that. You can hold his eye like a flashlight, or torch, if you will. Let me check chat. My computer keeps going to sleep on me. Yes, it certainly can break into shards. Which is why I was being strategic in where I was placing my thumbs. So this retaining ring here is to keep the dome in place. Although this top piece also does that, so. And there we go with the robot holding his eyeball. Actually, there are little grooves on a couple of these that correspond with the grooves, or the notches, or a couple of notches that correspond with the groove on the eyeball. So I could put the eyeball in like that. Now, this probably doesn't look as good from above as it does from the side here. Well. Okay, now it's not working, but that is how it goes. You could, of course, expand that slot a little bit if you needed to. Yeah, thanks. It's danger, danger. And of course, you can rotate around. That post is a little loose, but you'd glue it down. Now, the kind of the advanced thing is I actually have this set up for lighting, if you can believe that. Let's see if we can do it like this. If I take that off and that off, in here, you'll notice there's a hole, and that's for running wires through. You'll notice that in the top of this post, there's a hole. That's for running wires through. Now, they have to be very tiny wires and very tiny lights. I don't know that I can take the wheels off with the bumpers in place. That's kind of like the process, but this hole is there actually to allow wires to go through. And see if it will go straight up through. Yeah, that does. But the trick is finding finding things that are small enough. I don't think that'll fit through. Maybe it will. If it does, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Oh, there we go. So this little tiny thing here is actually a surface mount LED. And I could put this a few different places, or I could put a few different ones in there. I'll take the wheels off, since it fell off anyway. Now this could go in here, behind this front lens. Like if I take this off. Got this little tiny light. Let's see. Can't remember if this is on or off. So we have that, and where's that little lens? Ah, there it is. So we have the little lens to go over top of that. I know my hand's in the view. No? Did I get it backwards again? Did I turn the power off? Okay, yeah. So there we go. It can go, you can put a light there. There's a port for a light to go into the front hole there. There's also a space in the top of the dome to put a light in the top of the dome, or the dome spine, with a wire chase path for the wire to go through. In that case, it would go out through the back hole here and up the spine. You could also put a light in the little lamp thing, or the little eyeball thing. I don't know if it'll go through the back, but I know these tiny wires will fit through there. So that gives us some options for lighting. Again, it's too small of a thing for the batteries to fit inside, but they could go in a base and out through the bottom. So that's why I left those holes there. Yeah, I'm not going to bother trying to squish that in there, but it will fit. And you have a little light in there. So that is the overview of the Vic B3. I need to glue this up and paint this up, and then finish it so I can take some beauty shots of it. And we'll maybe be able to clip some of that out for a tutorial, or maybe I'll just have to rebuild it another time. But, you know, as you can tell, development takes a bit of effort, and I have a few spare parts, so I can probably put a couple together. This resin here is just the standard resin. The bluer stuff is just the standard resin, and a bit more brittle. This here is the Tech Fast, which I think is also, it's an easy resin. It's a simple resin, but it's also more ABS-like, so it's not as fragile, not as brittle. Alright, the question is now, what do I do for the rest of the stream? And again, thanks for stopping in. But what's up with this? Why did my glue not work? I do not have the all-important barrier cream on. Question is, how much of this do I want to paint before final assembly, and how much do I want to... Yeah, that is always the question. Definitely the tank treads need to be painted, and maybe the underside of the fenders. So, might do that. Come on out of there, Goopy Goop. So there is a clog in here. Which is why the glue was not working. Yeah. I think I was probably overexposing parts a little bit more before than I actually looked at the recommended cure times, and it's like, oh, that's not as long as I was thinking it was. Ooh, that is tough. to break up the glue that's there. It's potentially hardened. Okay, what did you this cheap paper clip? I usually do, I think, 20 or 2 minutes at this point, just because that's the lowest setting on my curing station. But like I said, I used to do it for much more. We got I have a 3D printer at work, a Mars 2 Pro, and when I spec'd that, when we actually ordered it, there wasn't a. We got a wash and cure station from another company. It's one of those company names that I would recognize, or you'd probably recognize, but it's annoying because it has separate time and speed settings, which is, you know, it's fine for that, but it's like the time settings go from like, I think 2 minutes to like 99 minutes or something like that. It's like there's no way I would need to have something curing for 90 minutes or washing for 90 minutes. It's like, why does the scale go up way so high? Why do you have to? And of course, it's a single button, so you have to cycle through it to get back to the beginning of the list. All right. Now, can I actually use my glue bottle as a dispenser again? Hey, look at that. It is working. Okay, good. Good, good, good. So I think yeah. And the speed settings seemed a little, they're faster. It rotates faster than my Anycubic watch cure. I think it's probably a Gen 1, even on the slowest speed setting. Let's see now. I think I'm going to get some spray paint and do a little painting, a little priming. Priming of parts. Problem is sometimes I've had parts that don't get they are always sticky. I think it's just the curing or the cleaning fluid's not clean enough or something like that. This one has a little chip out of it. But alright. I'll be off camera for a little bit. Again, thanks for hanging out. In the meantime, I'll stick that guy there. And maybe put him on a rotating base if I can find it. That is. Now I just need to find the power source. Will this reach? Barely. Maybe I'll put one of the earlier prototypes together just to be in theme. That one has the arm done. The backpack and the dome spine were the last bits added to the design, visually anyway. So that was the part I was trying to keep a little bit more secret. That'll do for the teaser. Not that you can even see it. Let's see, don't need these two parts for painting. That. And let's see. Like I said, I'll be back after a brief interlude painting. walk through a spider web. Alright. Well, now that I've used glue and paint, I'm going to put some hand lotion on. Which, of course, I should have done before I put the glue and paint on. I was wondering why my laptop kept going to sleep. The power cord is partially pulled out. Hey, look, here's that piece I was looking for earlier. Funny how you always find things. Well, or I guess you don't always find things. It's part of the problem. Alright, so the question is, do I want to light this with 1, 2, or 3 lights? Kind of like the one light look. No, I don't know. I don't know. Of course, I'd have to have a base in order to do that. I want to put it on a base. Alright, so, let's see. That first coat of black paint is drying. I'm using as a primer. I'm going to start playing with this again. Zoom out all the way. That is all the way. Okay. I think I missed a piece. Did I miss another piece? I don't know. No, I did not miss that piece. Be free with the robot. Yeah, that little pad that's supposed to keep things from sliding doesn't necessarily work so well. do Saharatsa building now. I have not a whole lot to finish on this, other than like these horrible seams and a few more details. It's like one of these things where it's like, these things don't line up the way they should. Oh well. Looks like there's a gap there. But how much time do you put into something that's basically junk? These tips here are ugly. So I want to do something about those. I was going to put some maybe vinyl down for panels, but I also wanted to try just using them for masking. But I think since I have so many raised panels elsewhere, I may as well do some other ones there as well. I think I will fill this gap with our old friend, baking soda. And let's see, do I have any thin CA in reach? I know I have some somewhere. I just don't know exactly where it is. Yes. There it is. So, what I will do, scoop a little baking soda into the cracks. And let the really thin CA just kind of seep into it. Ooh, if this is still good. Yeah. It's the CA that's so thin, it just slides over the top. It was at this point that Dana decided that she was starting to wonder if the fumes were becoming a problem. Though I do have ventilation happening. Let me do the same here. I've already fogged up this window with super glue, so fogging it up some more isn't going to hurt. Of course, I could just use UV resin. No, it doesn't want to stick. It just falls into the nose. I have gel. I may as well just use the gel for that. Yeah, just a lot of super glue at one time is pretty bad. So I suppose that's a sandable surface. This is going to be a rather beat up ship, just by the nature of the things I'm building it out of. But that's okay. Real airplanes aren't perfectly smooth surfaces a lot of times, or at least not the older ones. Okay. What else? Wanted to fill in this with something. Maybe do something to fill in this side here where it's a little thinner than the opposite side. But I'm not going for perfect symmetry anyway, so maybe I'll make something a little more prominent there. So you have these bits from the arm, but that looks kind of, I think the spike things look kind of silly, at least there. I'm assuming it's a spaceship, so it doesn't need to worry about aerodynamics. Oh yeah, I kind of wanted something in that area too. That would certainly add detail. Let's see now. Something like that. This is a dull blade. just need to replicate that on the other side. This is gonna be messy. Unless I just cut through this. Slid around. Am I breathing heavily into the mic? I'm like right behind the camera. Or phone that I'm using as a camera. Ooh, 46 followers. Somebody followed. Thank you, whoever that was. And we're just 4 away from the 50 mark. I'm not expecting that making affiliate will bring any significant income. But I would like the option to have emotes and redeems. I think that would make things a little more fun. Look about the same. Yeah. Might be a little off. Just a little panel detail, just gonna be very slight. So maybe I will use them as a mask after all. And stick to the card for the raised details. And probably because of Bill making stuff complaining about not having these, I got some cotton swabs with plastic tube handles. And also Andy Mecca, of course. Was talking about them more recently. Now what am I going to do with it? I don't know. I was thinking something along here. 3 of them, I guess. Build a little radar antenna jutting out from its nose. Might be a good idea to do out the tips of the sides. It's like at that stage where it's like, I just want to be done with this. That guy has a base. No, that's not going to work. Actually, this might be a good component to use. Tacky glue in this case. How I want these things to go together. I don't want to rely only on that, and that'll take too long to dry. Come on, you can do it. Am I talking to the glue or to my grip strength? I'm not sure. Let's see. I did not properly scratch up the surface of these tubes. Let me do that on these other ones. If I can find what I need to do that with. It's almost time to check out my paint job. I'm at that stage where it's just in my head. You haven't started yet? Is that what you mean? Okay. For some reason, I think 3 tubes will work where 1 tube wouldn't. I may have already put them in the wrong place. Get those stuck together. This is what happens when you make stuff up as you go. I'll probably just have to cut off the excess. Oh, you've only had enough of stuff when you're in the planning stages. It's like, yeah. A little paralyzed. much as I cut towards myself. This gel does not like to go down that tiny little tube. At least that's what I think is the issue. For some reason it needs asymmetric cooling on one side. So it has radiator panels. Yeah, that's what these are. Very, very large radiator panels. But I managed to not stick it to my finger. Not so much that, though. Let's trim that down. Alright. What else does she need? Like I said, the thing up top there. Should I bring out the box of bits, or should I just make do with what I have at hand? Yeah, torpedo tubes. It's whatever they want to be. Let's see. A few bits in there. I don't think I want to do something like that. Sure, why not? Blade fell out of my knife. I need to get some more blades. These are all dull. Hey, there's one of the things I was looking for earlier. This thing. Ooh, I might have to try that flame annealing process. To make the surface of these little plastic tubes accept the paint, because I did not do anything to it beforehand to address the paint situation. So if I do something like that, that just looked like a pen, pencil sticking up there. Doesn't matter. It'll fit. make these sharp, or do I put something on there? Do I make them blunt? Good question. Yeah. Try to remember what this was to. Those things there, but maybe I need... Maybe I can just fashion something. Making stuff up as I go. My laptop just keeps turning off. Well, not turning off, but the screen keeps going off. I don't think it did that last week. But I could be wrong. Something like that'll work. Just to fill things in a little. Could try heating it up to form it better. $12.03. This has a jam in it. It's like, no wonder this stuff wasn't coming out. Don't know how that happened. Just slather it on there. this to the other side. I'll go this way. I don't know. Nope, I did want to go the other way. Can't make up my mind. Precision engineering. I appeared in 13 searches on LinkedIn this week. Just thought I'd let you know that because they apparently thought I needed to know that. We'll see how that goes. Well, let's get back to our oh so exciting task of figuring out why this got clogged. I think it's clogged and not just a stiff piece of plastic. Maybe it is just a stiff piece of plastic at that point. It's just so flexible otherwise. Let's see, will this run all the way through it? Yes, it will. Okay, so maybe it is just that this glue is too thick for this tube. Oh well. At least it's a cap. It should be something like this. I'm trying to match this angle over here to over here. And somewhere I have a hobby knife. Not a hobby knife, a hobby saw. And that's about right. Maybe I'll just close them off. Be done with it. Yes, I saw your note taking primer a while ago. Apparently I'm not a very good host. Because I didn't mention it until just now. Somewhere around here I have some card. Hey, look! It's the wire I couldn't find earlier today. Right there, in front of me. Might be getting close to nap time for me. So I just want something to cover those up. Maybe I'll make them oversized and then trim them down. That might work well. Well enough. Hey look, the glue is actually going through the tube. How was that even possible? Alright. Same thing on the other side. Put glue on it. Stick the piece of cardboard on it, and then hold it for 20 seconds or so. See if I can use scissors to actually trim these with a bit more precision, or less strain on the parts than I would have if I used the knife. Alright. Have some unsightly seams there. Which maybe I can fill so they become unsighted. Unsightable. Can't be seen. But I don't know. I wonder if I should just cut the holes in here. I can make the windows clear by not having them not having any plastic there. I made the mistake of trying to use super glue on clear plastic, and it fogged it up. There you can see the little seats. If you're still here, wee bald guy, what is it that you are 3D printing today? I didn't ask you earlier. You said something about 40K. I saw that. It's not a great interior, but there is one there, so I kind of want that to be seen a little bit. Fixing up some bad print 40K stuff. Jetpacks didn't print well, and I'm doing a full conversion for 40K, like Scottish themed, with custom claymores, insignia, and stuff. Cool. Keeps you busy, keeps you out of trouble. The closest I got to playing 40K was I had some friends whose brother was into it, younger brother was into it, and at one point we played like a really quick stripped down version. We were just, I think it might not have been 40K, but it was some war game like it with lots of little figures and all the weapons and rules and stuff. We just played with a basic battle, rolling for attack and distance and that stuff. Not delving into any other lore. I don't know that I've ever actually watched the game of it being played. Watched some things on the lore. I have tended to shy away from games that felt like homework. Yeah, I like the crafting elements of it, mostly. Summary of the lore I saw, one of them was like, made it clear that it was a very dark, weird future for humanity. It's like, I don't know if I like that. But lots of variety there, certainly. Almost done. Okay, I guess that piece fell in. There you go. Can actually see inside now. I just put a couple of seats and I think a control panel in there. Grimdark. Has a cool ring to it, though. Warhammer 40K, The Unicorn Wars. So I feel like there should be something here too, whether that's just panels or what, I don't know. Like I said, I have these things that I'm not using for anything. It kind of works. Ooh, that's one that had a partial failure. put that in the wrong place. The glue. Put the glue in the wrong place. Playing in the Mud is live now. This time we're putting the glue on the edge. The bottom edge, not the top of it. And we got some on top of it too. Just enough to let me not want to put my fingers there. Then with some EVA foam. Why not? This is a brand new blade, so it's actually cutting through it nicely. Do one more. So I got 3 to choose from. The first one's a little rougher, but the second and the third one, or the first and the third one match better. Something like that. Same thing there. Blunt that out. Sticking to the tool and not the part. My builds are not going to be known for their perfect symmetry and precision. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I like perfect precision and that other fancy word I said, symmetry. But that's not what this project's about. This is about just building something from scratch, making it up as I go, and hopefully coming out with something that looks cool. We'll do a little patching here with our old friend baking soda and super glue. Yeah, I just kind of tapped the glue bottle accidentally and it like suspended a droplet over the screen of my phone. Like, no, that would be bad. Silicone to smooth it out with. There's my more liquidy one. Is this out? Or is it clogged? Clogged. It was clogged. Add some glue to this edge here to kind of harden up the fibers so they can be shaped maybe. Same up here. This is just going to provide a clear, hard coat. Good evening. Starting in 30 minutes, Andy will be. I think I can find things to keep us busy until then. By us, I mean me. I got some new filler primer the other day. So I think this will go on this, and maybe as a top coat on the other model. I've already started. You know, this guy. First I should bring those parts in here so you can see them. Or maybe I'll just take the camera out to the parts. Alright. Here's what our parts look like after a coat of flat black paint. This one I just had to paint again because I missed a spot. Oh. Look at that mess. It's going to take a little sanding, I think. I have a back porch that's, right out the door, so it's not much of an issue at this point. I'll hold the pieces up closer so that they actually can get a look at the detail. This can still turn. I think I'll imagine these treads as being rubber, so that's actually a decent color for them. Of course, need to bring out the wheels and stuff. What I might do is I might just assemble it like this with the black base coat, and then do like a gray for like a zenithal highlight, as you know the cool kids do. Still a little sticky, and I had to paint a couple other things too. Actually, no. I mean, I did have to paint a couple other things, but I brought them in. I was thinking I had left them out, but like this was the piece I had initially missed, so I had to add that, and then on this piece here I had missed a side. So this will look pretty cool when it's all put together. I can bring the details in closer, maybe. I'll need a little bit of sanding. But anyway, let's see what this looks like with another coat. Looking for something to hold it with. Use some of that wire you use for the arms to make a hook to hang it from when you paint them. You get a more even coat and hang it. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. It's a voice of experience there, huh? I'll be right back. Alright. Here's what that looks like with a coat of paint, or a coat of primer. Of course, needs probably some more surface cleanup. And another passive primer. And another, then the paint, then the weathering, decals, graphics, then the weathering. Oh, look. I found the trunk. So I'm wondering if I need to add more geometry to it to get rid of those facets, or if that's an acceptable amount of faceting. Pretty easy to take care of with sanding. Or scraping, for that matter. let's see. I know how to do it. It's just, you know, how dense do I want the object to be? I think this came out pretty good. I can still see the facets if I look close. But I actually didn't use Blender to make these, so I would have to do it in the original program, which is cool. So, were you the one who was, yeah. Have you heard the news about Lightwave 3D? And hello, Pugsley Pug, first time in chat. Yeah, Lightwave, Visrite, who owned Lightwave, have just sold it to another company that is created for that specific reason, for doing Lightwave. So, run by industry veterans and fans of the software. I came from you, Andy's chat. Anyways, how are you? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm just about... When Andy gets online, which is soon, if not already, I'm going to probably raid out to him. But today I've been working on the pieces of this guy. And it's kind of like this. That's mostly what I've been working on. I've also been doing some scratch building and worked on, the scratch build project. I was going to possibly do a sticker design too, but I don't think I have time for that, or don't think I want to get the stuff out for that. Yeah, that Blender is certainly, yeah, very capable. If you can get your head around using it, then great. I'm sure it just takes practice and experience. I'm just, you know, a dinosaur stuck in my ways with my old 3D graphics program I learned in the when I was still younger. But I don't do as much with the 3D animation graphics as I had done in the past, so at this point I'm okay with it. Hopefully the new owners will have a better time of it and actually fix some long-standing issues. So what are you up to today, Pugsley? And welcome in. I think I already did welcome you, but yeah, definitely welcome in. I don't remember. Do either of you guys stream? Oh, I can give you a shout out if you'd like, but I don't know that there's anyone here except you and I. Unless, you know, we're back. That's because I only see one viewer in my thing, but I don't know how accurate that is. So, looks like Mr. Mech has started his stream, at least the startup screen. So, thank you again for hanging out. I appreciate it. It's been nice chatting with you. Like I said, at some point I hope to get to affiliate just so I can have my own custom emotes and maybe some redeems. But I don't anticipate streaming being a major part of what I do. But I also am doing it partially to promote things like model kits and vinyl decals and other things that I can produce. But I do like hanging out with y'all, so that's probably more of it. This is the same one. So I might keep working on this today. If not, then definitely over the weekend. And I'll probably just post pictures on the Instagram, unless I really feel like streaming tomorrow. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. And again, thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, I'm currently on. I currently am doing a two stream a week, but one of them is like a short one, so it doesn't really amount to much. But yeah, I'm trying to be more consistent. So yeah, if you're bored on a Saturday morning or evening or whatever time it is where you are, then you're welcome to come hang out with me. We can talk 3D printing and whatnot. Alright. Let me set up the raid. And we will raid out.
First gone round, it couldn't have gone better.